In this video, I'm going to explain the difference between vision, purpose, and mission so that you can craft your own. Because when they're created with real meaning, they can make all the difference in how you design your company and how your team work together. If you're new here, hi, I'm Lizzie, and I've spent the past 7 years working with founders and their teams to redesign the way they work. And I can tell you now that vision, purpose, and mission are the root of where work gets done. Let's be honest, a lot of the time, vision, purpose, and mission have a bad reputation of being this fluffy corporate jargon that has absolutely nothing to do with the work that actually needs to get done. They're kind of like these whimsical words that sound great, but doesn't mean anything and doesn't influence the work. To me, this is when vision, purpose, and mission are done badly and done as more of a branding exercise rather than what you actually want to achieve as a company. So in this video, I'm going to explain the difference between vision, purpose, and mission so that you can go ahead and craft your own. I'm also going to talk about some of the pitfalls that I've seen over the years when people are crafting these, and how when done well, they have a very real link to how you design your company and how work gets done. So let's get into it. Let's kick it off with the big one, which is vision. Now, vision is an idealistic future, and you have a choice in how to describe your vision. The vision can either be about the company, so what does the company look like in the future, or what is the world? It can be much more broad. Now, the reason I explain both of these is because sometimes, and you might not like my answer here, but sometimes your company may not exist in, say, 10 years' time because it's fulfilled its purpose, it's fulfilled its mission, so it doesn't need to exist. That I know is a bold statement in itself, but if you're a very young company who still doesn't really know where you want to be and don't like the idea of being constrained by a vision around your company, then I would say go towards the world. What world do you hope will exist in the future that your company will somehow play a part of? So a great statement where I always get teams and founders to start with is a world where. A world where what? What exists in this future vision? Now, often the vision will have already been created by the founder, especially when the company started its inception. There will be a specific vision in mind of what they're hoping to make a difference in the world with. But sometimes it can be nice to do it with others, especially if you want people to have more ownership and to participate more in the organization. So there's another choice for you, essentially. You can either be a founder that just kind of plants the flag in the ground and says, this is our vision, or you can co-create it with your team. So there are, again, two options when it comes to vision. But essentially, vision is the idealistic future that we're looking for. Purpose is the reason your company exists. As Simon Sinek says, it's the big why. Why are you here? Why do you need to exist? It's also quite an uncomfortable question as well, because let's be honest, yes, a business has to make profit, it has to make money in order to keep going and to exist within this world that we live in, but also that's not why we get out of bed in the morning. It's a bit like as a human saying, I get out of bed in the morning to breathe. When we don't, there's something that's going on underneath the surface in order for us to be driven and motivated to do something. So your purpose is your why, your reason for being. And although you might not make this really hyper explicit, say on your business website or with your team, it's great to connect in with, because this is like the heart and soul of your business, of your company. This is why you exist. This is why you want to be here. So even though you might not make this explicit, like externally, it's a great thing to connect on so that everybody knows the why behind the company. Mission is the goal your business wants to achieve. So So if, for example, we imagine that the vision is when we're at the top of the mountain and we're looking out across the future landscape of the world and we are seeing it all happening, the mission is like those micro steps going up the mountain in order to achieve that vision. So they need to be attainable. They can't be overly ambiguous or bold. It needs to be very clear. And what I tend to say is you should have a goal for a 1-year strategy, 3-year strategy, and a 5-year strategy. But I caveat this hugely with don't get het up on the 3 and 5-year strategy, because as we all know, those goals can very quickly change. So what I would really say is make sure that your 1-year mission, your mission is at least relevant to 1 to 3 years, so that you have a very clear, tangible goal that you are working to achieve. And personally, the way I approach the mission is that mission should change every few years, because we're gradually climbing up that mountain. So if it just stays the same forever, and I will come on to this in another point shortly, but if the mission just stays the same forever, then we've not actually achieved any of the work that we were doing. What have we actually been doing? So why does vision, purpose, and mission really matter when so often they are just these words that they're put all over the place and have no real influence on the work that happens? Now, first of all, vision is important because we want to get a collective sense of what we would love to see in the world. As a team, as a company, what is it that we would really hope to see in our future? And a lot of the time, this is really important for people because they want to be connected to something bigger than themselves. Yes, we have work and jobs in order to survive and live in this world. But when we want to be truly driven and motivated, so many of us are connected to that intrinsic motivation of wanting to work for something bigger than ourselves. It is just human nature. So the vision helps us do that. It helps us to have that collective purpose, that collective drive towards something that is bigger than ourselves. Now, often where vision, purpose, and mission become super detached from the work that gets done is because these things, these vision, purpose, and mission, don't actually come into the work design. And this is where I'm going to do a very brief intro to kind of like org design based on mission. So let's say, for example, that this is our organization and we have a very clear mission of what we want to achieve. Now, with that in mind, we have to think, okay, in order to achieve that mission, what work needs to get done? What needs to be delivered? And that's where we start to design the teams and the functions that are going to create the work in order to achieve that mission. So that's where it needs to interlink with your org design, not just be a completely separate, fluffy, nice thing to have. Ultimately, if you're serious about being a purpose-driven business, then those 3 things ultimately are influencing how the work gets done. The mission should also be broken down into smaller goals and aims for each team. So while we have the overall company mission that we're trying to achieve, the work we're trying to get done, the goal we're trying to achieve, the teams themselves should have aims or goals that they are trying to achieve that all filters up to this one goal. So imagine, as it were, that the mission is like a pizza and each slice of the pizza is a micro part of that big goal. It's like micro goals essentially. But what we want to do again is give the teams the opportunity to design these goals, knowing the mission of the company, knowing what their team is doing, like the work they need to do, what goal can they decide upon that is collectively decided and also relevant and realistic to the goal of the company. So that's where we can start to break down this much bigger mission into smaller team-based micro goals. Okay, I really want to talk about how vision, purpose, and mission can all change. Because where I see companies stumbling so often is that they kind of get really locked in to thinking that these are static statements that have to live forever and ever and ever and ever and ever until the end of time. Nothing in the world is static and set in stone. What we want is something that is good enough for now, that we can move with and we can change in the future, because a company is made up of humans who are forever changing. A company is also living in a world that is always changing. So there is no such thing as a static vision, purpose, and mission. So kind of the mindset shift here is that we just need something in order for us to move forward. So this kind of ever evolving, ever adapting mindset is really important so that we don't get bogged down in the detail and even, all the words and trying to wordsmith it into perfection. Don't do that. Make something that works for now and we can change it in the future, because no doubt it will have to change in the future. In a lot of the companies that I've worked with, some of the companies are legacy companies. They have been around for 10 or so years, and they've realized, hang on a minute, the vision and the mission, the purpose that we had 10 years ago when we first started our business is totally irrelevant to the world that we live in now. So this is why it's important that you have that mindset that this is going to change in another phase of our life cycle. But we just want to get something to move us forward now where we feel like we're going. Now, my final point that I really want to cover, because this is so rarely covered, is that we need to give people authority to change the vision, purpose, and mission. And the reason for this is because often when founders leave the business for whatever reason, maybe they've sold the company, they've passed away, they've moved to a different country, whatever, they've stepped away from the company. Now, who's now responsible for changing that vision, purpose, or mission? We need to make it very clear who has the authority to change this, because otherwise you can get in a very sticky situation where the company is kind of embroiled in this messy uncertainty about how to change itself. And people don't know whether it's the stakeholders, the board, the new CEO, and it all gets really messy. So even right now, if you are a founder, make sure that whenever you're thinking about your legacy, you are considering, how am I going to want the vision, purpose, and mission changed in the future, and who will hold the authority on that? So it's just something that I want to include because it's so rarely spoken about, and I hope that that helps. So that was my intro to vision, purpose, and mission. I hope this video has helped and made you start thinking about how you're going to craft your own, and maybe given you a bit of inspiration. I have also covered this in my book, How to Build the Company Culture You Really Want, which I will link in the description below. But enjoy crafting these, and do let me know in the comments below if you have crafted your vision, purpose, and mission, and what the next steps are for you. And I look forward to seeing you next week.